Tapu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Haru Nefer. This is Qesankh Ma Keparu with another exciting video for you. In this video, I want to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home, which is breaking box office records. But before I do that, I want you to, actually, let me do something really quick. Before I do anything, let me see if I can do that really quick. All right. See, I'm going to pause that. Oh, I know what I can do. There you go. Alexa, turn my TV off.
Okay.
All right. So before I go into anything, I want you to hit the like button below. And if this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe button to get notifications when I go live and when I upload recorded messages. And if you are interested in taking your spiritual knowledge to the next level, you can scroll down below and click on any one of the links and become a Patreon supporter today. Actually, I meant to say, scroll down the links and download a free ebook. That's what I meant to say, a free ebook, which will go into detail about some of my spiritual teachings. The ebooks are great and they're free. But if you want to learn more about my spiritual teachings, now here we get to this, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. It's up to you. You get exclusive access to instructional videos on the esoteric, videos that'll take you deeper down the rabbit hole. You'll learn how to communicate with the ancestors, summon spirits for your protection, create magical amulets, learn self-hypnosis, and work with the oracles. And if you're an Nasser level supporter, you'll get all your oracle readings for free. So become a Patreon supporter today. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. So Haru Nefer, may Buddha bless you. This is not going to be quite like a movie review, but there are some really key things in the movie I wanted to touch on. And every now and then, Hollywood is filled with alchemists, and they're also filled with insiders. So these individuals will want to kind of warn you and tell you what's going on in the world, who's controlling the world, what's happening. One of those men is George Lucas, So it's very important that you kind of like glean these nuggets that they're giving you and kind of put the pieces of the puzzles together. Like, of course, they're not going to throw everything in there. I mean, you get really great films like The Matrix and stuff like that, and Spider-Man No Way Home. And they all contain these pieces. It's like the 14 pieces of Osir that was thrown all over the world. And you've got to collect them and put them together and form this big picture so you understand what's going on in your world, So I got an opportunity to see Spider-Man No Way Home, which I thought was excellent. People were telling me it's a really good film. You got to check it out. And entertainment-wise, I was thoroughly entertained. And it's very hard for me nowadays. I don't know why. I guess because I've gotten older and I've produced movies myself. It's very hard for me to sit in the theater for like 2-3 hours because it's like movies don't, I don't know if you use the term correctly. Let's just say subvert my expectations. It's like I can really just look at the plot points. I know the character arcs and it just doesn't thrill me anymore. I'm like, unless it's something very extraordinary, then I'm like, wow, this is why I wanted to be a filmmaker or whatnot. But typically they just go on the same beats and it gets boring, I liked Avengers Endgame, but I felt they did too much with the time travel thing and that bored me, right? But as I said before, and while I'm on that note, the new Matrix movie is coming out, that some of these films actually really deal with very important issues. And it's not arbitrary. I want you to understand that they're not throwing these in the storyline just because they're cool and they're the topics of things being discussed now. They're throwing this because they're trying to reveal to you the world you live in, what this reality is all about, As I said, I'm not going to give away any spoilers to Spider-Man No Way Home, but as I was alluding to, his breaking box office records, I think it earned like over the weekend, this opening weekend, $587 million. That is incredible. All right. Given that we're in the pandemic and, not many people are supposedly going to the theater. So that's really sensational, and I think a lot of good word of mouth got out early on about the film. So let me just say that again. The film is entertainment wise is great. And there are some surprises. I mean, some real shocking surprises in the film that I'm not going to tell you, but you should go see it just for those surprises. And if you have an opportunity, see it on the big screen. That's important. Now, I kind of want to just tackle not the Hollywood stuff about how, well, let me just finish on that. The one thing that was great about the film was the special effects, it was a great story. But to me, I'm all about character arcs. And in the film, I saw all the major characters like Zendaya or MJ or whatever she's called, and Peter Parker and Doc Ock. And, I saw all of these characters have these great character arcs, meaning we got to know them better. They had serious choices to be made. And and at one point I felt my eyes watering up like I wanted to cry because the actors really pulled out all the stops and gave an emotional performance. An emotional performance. And that's something you don't see for like a superhero film, so it's interesting about Doctor Strange's character. His character, yes, was developed well, and he was acting in a weird way, and I had a suspicion of why he was acting in a weird way. But you definitely get a better insight as to who he is, and the choices he has to make. So I think that's what's great about this movie is that every character is explored, and they have tough decisions to make. And as you know, in life, what we talk about in the Kemetic religion, you know who you are at the crossroads, meaning when you have to choose to live truth or to go on living a lie. And those are the toughest decisions. They're real tough decisions. And in this film, you see those characters making tough decisions. And they're put in positions to where, oh my, what do I do? What do I do? The film handles two things that I think that we as magicians or magis really, really need to know about. The first one, and this is kind of a spoiler, but kind of not, is Peter Parker is just faced with all these villains. It's it's really, really difficult for him to fight all these villains, right? But he makes a really interesting choice in the sense that when we don't see this in mainstream movies, but we did see this in one film that handled it well as excellent, which was Black Panther, Killmonger. We had to look at Killmonger as not a villain. We had to say that, you know what, he has a point in what he is saying. Maybe his execution is wrong, but he's not a villain. And we see this especially within the Green Goblin and Peter Parker, because Peter Parker has to make a decision. He can't, and he has the ability. There's all-out brawl scene between the two of them. They're fighting each other, beating the hell out of each other. It's like it's a wrestling match, and it has one of the best fight scenes in a superhero movie. I have to give it to them. I mean, these guys were just like beating the heck out of each other. And Peter Parker has to make a decision. I can't kill him because it's not him that's doing this. He's controlled by the Green Goblin, So Oscorp, the whole potion or whatever it was got into him and changed him to the Green Goblin. So Peter Parker realized that he could help these villains. He could give them what they need to become normal again, to get back to who they were. And he sets off on that path. But of course, it goes horribly wrong. But one of the things about his Aunt May tells him, yes, you were doing the right thing in trying to heal them, and it went horribly wrong. But you still did the right thing. And don't ever doubt that. And this is what we have to learn in this society, is that there are people who are going to curse us out, who are going to ostracize us, who's going to shun us, because you're into something that's totally, totally different, or a departure from the way the world is structured. And that comes with a cost. And Peter learned that in the film. But that doesn't mean you're wrong. In fact, the trouble you're getting is just an indication that you're on the right track. You're doing the right thing. And I like in the film Batman, I think it was Alfred that said that you rattled the cage. He was speaking to Batman. Did you think that these villains were just going to sit by and let you rattle the cage? No, they were going to push back. And I'm saying this to all of you who are in this journey to become a higher being, to become God, and to awaken the powers within you. Don't think that this society is going to support you. Don't think that this society is going to sit back and allow you to uplift the consciousness of the people without a fight. It's not. It's going to push back and fight you tooth and nail. But don't you ever stop. And that's what I admired about the character of Peter Parker, because that arc, there was one point he had to think about, do I continue to try and help these villains, even though the world and the villains are trying to kill me? And one of the things I learned in the priesthood, shout out to the Monk's Workshop, thank you. So one of the things I had, thank you for your contribution. Thank you so much. One of the things I learned when I was in the priesthood, we learned Qigong, medical Qigong. Now, when I started learning it, I was just like blown away by it. Because what that does, medical Qigong, is it looks at the person and says the person is okay, meaning you are consciousness, you're a God, you're okay. But there's a physical abnormality or something not right or not out of balance energy-wise within you. Now, how do we give you what you need, fulfill that need within you to bring you back into balance, to be a whole person? And if you look at the story of Asar and Nasir, which is the basic story of many stories, the hero's journey, you see that Haru, when he defeated Seth, he didn't kill Seth. He didn't kill him. He said, there's a place for you in this world, my uncle. And I'm going to put you in the duat in front of the barge to clear the way so the barge may sail. He could have killed Seth, but he knew with the great wisdom of Sekert, a place for everything and everything in its place. And that's what Peter Parker learned. That all these villains were victims of circumstances. It was just as much victims. And he said, if I could just help them and turn them around, we would bring balance back to the world. And he tried, and it seriously backfired. But he never stopped. He never wavered from that course. And that's exactly what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to say to yourself, how committed am I to becoming God? How committed am I to saving the world? I'm going to tell you. And thanks, D. Monk, for bringing this up. Because as a spiritual teacher, I have been threatened, ostracized, cut off from communication, terminated on certain jobs because I refused to compromise on truth. I refused to subscribe to the sick society. I said, there's a higher being within me that needs to be awakened. And the only way I can do that is to stand by truth. And there were nights that I would come home by myself with no one to look after me or to support me, and look in the mirror and say, I know I did the right thing. I know I did the right thing. I remember working for one racist IT manager, racist to the core. And he just decided he was going to terminate all people of color, including me. And I said, well, I got to report this guy, because you can't terminate somebody without due process. There's a, you have to give them warnings. You have to give them opportunity to correct their ways. And I said, why are you terminating me? And he didn't have an answer. And I said, well, I know why you're terminating me, because I'm a person of color. I've asked around, and every person you have fired has been of color. And I think people knew it too. They saw it. But regardless of the fact, because I knew that, HR would not take any immediate action, I still had to go home, no job, look myself in the mirror and say, I did nothing wrong. But in his eyes, in his race's eyes, because I was a person of color and he had a position of power and he was racist, he thought he could just exercise that racism. And you'll get to a point where you'll doubt yourself. You'll wonder if you're doing the right thing. I want you to hang on to what I just said there. I want you to hang on to what I just said there. It's very important. There are those times that you will be alone and you will doubt yourself and wonder if you're doing the right thing. And that's the animal spirit within you, the left brain bringing up those doubts and fears. I put a question up on my YouTube channel about orbs and spirits. And I said, when an orb comes into your resident, your home, how do you know if it's good or bad? And what saddened me is that 99% of people couldn't answer the question. And I felt like been teaching for years, and this was Kemetic Science 101. You should have been able to answer this question so quickly. How do you know if a spirit comes into your house, if it's good or bad? And only one person, Second Nefertara, could answer that question correctly. And everyone else disappointed me. Now, going back to what I was saying before, when you come home and you stood for truth, but you doubt yourself, how do you know that you're doing the right thing? How do you know you're doing the right thing? Or how do you know you did the right thing? You go to the oracles. You ask God, did I do the right thing? Please comment, God, on my actions. And if God said you did the right thing, then don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Because when God declares something, there's power behind it. When man declares something, there's no power behind it. But when God declares something, there's power behind it. Meaning that you may have temporarily lost something, a man, a woman, a job, a business. But if you did the right thing, then there's something else for you. And there's something else waiting for you that's greater. Just like I see people go to other YouTube channels and they be donating money to these charlatans and these snake oil salesmen. And then when they come back to my channel, I say, donate if you can. They don't drop a penny. But that's not going to upset me because I know what I'm doing is right. You understand? And the reason that I bring that up, not because it's a monetary thing, but it's symbolic of, is this something that you want to fight for? Is this something you consider your legacy and your heritage? and that you feel so passionate about that you're willing to keep it going. And the mere fact that I see that many of you couldn't get that question right, which was Comedic Science 101. I have a mate who's into witchcraft, and they don't teach this stuff in witchcraft. And even she knew the answer to that question just like that. So when I see people can't answer that simple question or go to their channels and donate money and just pop by here and just listen, that tells me you're not serious. I went to, when I was in priesthood, I went to the king because he had gave me the curriculum for that semester. And I said, Tadak, Shechem or Shechem. Because there's a way you have to approach him. You just can't walk up and say, hey, king, can I talk to you a second? It doesn't work that way. You get ambushed. And I got ambushed once because he was on stage and I happened to, by mistake, walk in the back of the stage. And I saw these people jump me saying, you can't come backstage when the king is talking. We don't know who you are. But anyway, I digress. So I'm looking at the curriculum. And I go, my king, there's a lot of classes on this next semester. He goes, yeah. And I said, well, I love it. It's awesome. But why are you having all these great classes for free? Why don't you charge the people money? He says, yeah, well, we thought about that. And we went to God and we got Ma'ahetep. And I didn't know what that meant. I was still first year in priesthood, didn't know. Universal peace, of course we did. We had whole classes on health and medicine was like big. Yeah, a lot of classes on that. So he said, Ma'at is giving, seeking nothing in return. So God is telling us to give these, be of service to the community, give these classes away for free. And I was like, okay, if God said so, but I would charge because these are some awesome classes, classes of homeopathy, oracle classes, meditation classes, Egyptology classes. Like, wow, this is a lot of stuff for free, but okay, if the oracle said. And what you saw from that was that the people began to protect the religion, protect the organization, and word spread about what we were doing. Because, obviously we were located in a very, very impoverished neighborhood. So people couldn't afford anything of that nature. And being to service was to the community meant that not only do we have classes, we had the best vegan restaurant there was. I've never tasted so good of food. The food was excellent. And I mean excellent. Now the temple was nowhere near where I lived. My girlfriend at the time had to pick me up because I'll be at classes so late till about 1 a.m. So she would get off work, stay home, drive, pick me up, and then we would drive back for an hour to get to my apartment because there's no transportation at that time of the night. But one of the things I wanted to do was not only take all the classes, but just to have dinner there too. Dinner was great. And I would bring her plate too. She loved it. So my biggest gripe with many of you, and this is all I ask, it's not about you donating to my channel, which I would love to, but I want to say this. I would prefer that you fight tooth and nail for this way of life. If anybody tries to steal it, tries to misrepresent it, tries to put it down, I would love to see you go Harukahuti on their butts, get medieval on their ass. More than I would like to see you donate to the channel. If you could just do that, you would make me happy and everything I've been doing would be of service. would have meaning to it. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Practice this, live this, and defend this with your life. You go to the Jewish community, especially in New York, and you try to come into their community and do anything against their temples, or watch what happens to you. Watch what you try to mess with or write books on Muhammad that don't represent him correctly, and see what happens to you. And I'm not saying that you should go to that extreme. No, of course not. But you're so far on the other side of the pendulum. It's so much a nonchalant, don't care attitude. And when I tell you I peruse other sites and I see these so-called gurus talking about the Kemetic science, the Kemetic religion, and getting it all wrong, it bothers me. But anyway, I digress. The second thing that Spider-Man No Way Home dealt with, I mean, from a director's point of view, looking at the character arcs, fantastic. I mean, I'm not a fan of Zendaya, but I have to admit it, she rocked it in her performance. I wasn't a fan of Tom Holland, but he rocked it. The only thing I have a gripe with was William Dafoe, who's an excellent actor, and I believe could have stole, well, maybe that's why they did it, who I believe he could have stole the movie if he wanted to. You guys see him in Platoon? And they didn't let him go as far as he could have gone with his performance. Because you can look at him and the Green Goblin on the same level you can see the Joker with Heath Ledger. William Dafoe could have took it there very easily, but I think they pulled him back a bit. But I would like to see him gone that way. But again, they made up for it because that fight scene was straight out of MMA. It was like, wow. And I have respect for this version of Spider-Man because I haven't been watching these new Spider-Man movies. This is not, I mean, I like Civil War, but nah, I wasn't. Zendaya, she was getting on my nerve with this dark, depressed attitude. But even Maritza Tomei, this woman threw down in this film. I mean, threw down in this film. And I'm not a fan of hers at all. I am not a fan of hers, but she threw down. She was not no wimpy woman who's going to take it. She was ready to fight. Ready to fight. And I'm not giving you a spoiler, but there's this one scene where she kind of squares off with the Green Goblin. And she doesn't back off. She's like, let's go. And I was like, whoa. I was like, oh, whoa. And she didn't flinch. That's Meneb. You familiar with Meneb? Meneb and Alchema'at, the ability to keep your heart still, to live truth, so that you don't fear anything. So that emotions, that fight or flight thing doesn't take over. You make a logical decision. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, and the most important thing, is the film, kind of spoiler alert, dealt with the multiverse, which is what we've been talking about in my teachings. Parallel realities. Parallel realities. The film dealt with that subject. And they did it in a very good way. And used it as a story trope. It was great. And I have to give that to them, kudos. Because it's exactly what I've been telling you. That there are many different versions of you out there in parallel realities, living different experiences. People ask me, well, why am I here and in this reality with the ruling elite or Illuminati in control? Why? I said, because you don't understand the whole picture, which is the 20th hexagram of the I-ching. 20th hexagram of the I-ching. Look at the big picture. You are not here in this reality with the ruling elite in control. Yes, you're here, and you're also in another reality where you're a rich billionaire. And you're also in another reality where you are a super movie star. And you're in another reality where you're in Africa and you're poor and you're impoverished. You're experiencing all of these realities simultaneously and you don't realize it. So don't say, woe is me. Why am I here? Why am I born poor? Why am I? No. You are having multi-dimensional experiences all at once, and you don't even realize it. And the only question you should be asking is, how can I shift to a reality so I can experience me as a rich person? How can I shift to a reality and experience me as a beautiful woman or a handsome man? How can I do that? And it's so easy. It's not difficult. And the movie Spider-Man No Way Home actually gives away the formula in a way. Because one of the characters stumbles onto it by accident. You understand? It's not complicated. It's not. You just have to stay the course. If I tell you, focus on what you want, empower it with a strong emotion, and stay in that state for as long as possible until it comes to fruition, that's it. There's no like complicated math equations to go through. That is it. Now, you're not going to feel yourself shifting to or quantum leaping to this different reality. What's going to happen is a series of synchronicities. And I experience them all the time. I experienced one the other night that scared the crap out of me. I'm sitting at my computer going, man, I love that video game. And I was listening to a lecture online on YouTube, right? And I want to buy this video game that I used to play when I was, teenager. And I was like, I remember playing the game and it would say something when you punch. And then on the computer, the lecturer said, yeah, I love this video game. And it would say body blow when you punch. I was like, oh, whoa. You talk about synchronicity. He just said it right when I was thinking it. And I was like, but the significance in that event, is not the synchronicity so much as you got to dissect the synchronicity and try to figure out. The synchronicity is just a guidepost saying, hey, you're in a new reality now. You made a pit stop into a new reality. Is this the reality you want? You want to keep going? That's it. 17. Tell me what character is Qesankh within the Spider-Verse. What character is Qesankh? Because there is a character crafted after him. Let's see how good you are. So the synchronicity is an indication that you're shifted into a new reality, because the realities come in like pieces of a puzzle to form a bigger picture, a different picture. You just got to stay the course on how you're feeling, the emotion, your visualization, your desire, and your belief system. That's all it is. Now we can refine this process to make it happen quicker. No. Oh, man, come. Why would you say Spider-Man? Why would you say Spider-Man? Who is Spider-Man in on the Tree of Life? Who is Spider-Man? That one should be obvious to you. Who is Spider-Man in the hero's journey? Spider-Man Peter Parker is Haru, Horace, not Sebek. No. Remember, the protagonist is typically Haru, always, because it's the hero's journey. The word hero comes from Haru. All right? No, not Venom. No, not Venom. That's well, he has qualities of Sebek. But no, it's not Venom. Venom would be a Nekabet or a Wajet. Okay. So more so Nekabet. And I want to see you tell me why it would be Nekabet. More so than Wajet. If you can answer that, I got a prize for you. Okay? If you can answer that, I got a prize for you. But what was I saying? So the movie dealt with the multiverse. So why are they making a movie about a multiverse? Why are they on this kick? Because they're trying to tell you something. They're trying to tell you about the world you live in and what's going on. Don't you get it? Hollywood, magic wand made out of the wood from the holly tree. Stars in Hollywood, the stars in the sky of the zodiac. Hollywood is full of magicians, and they're trying to hip you on what's going on. They want you to know. The script is a spell. That's all the script is. Hey, no one answered that question yet. Which character in the Spider-Verse is Sebek? It's obvious. And I've already said it too. If you catch on. I already said it. Come on. 2 questions. Which character is Sebek? And why would Nekabet be more Venom than Wajet? It's a little tricky. Boom. There you go. You got it. You got the old account. You got it. But you would say, yeah, Harry Osborn, but we not Harry Osborn, but it would be the Green Goblin, would be Sebek, the Green Goblin. Okay. Harry Osborn, he's actually a good guy. He got messed up with the formula and all that. But you're still right. You're still right. No, that's not right. Nekabet is cooler in nature like Venom. Venom's not cooler in nature. Venom's no. So let me explain it. Nekabet is more sneaky and it's more hidden. So what does Venom do? Venom gets inside you and he hides and he orchestrates things from behind the scenes, right? He takes over. That's Nekabet. Wajet is more like in your face. You see it. You know it's there. It happens. But Nekabet is more subversive, hidden. So think about that. Oh, yeah, but the old Osborn. Yeah, I hear you. I totally hear you. Actually, I'm going to tell you something. The Green Goblin was one of my favorite characters. I like that. I was just like, oh, he's cool. And when they got William Dafoe to play him, I was like, man, they got a great actor. It's like Dafoe could play the Green Goblin or Joker. He could do it. And I'd love to see him play the Joker. You know what I mean? Does everybody understand, by the way, why Spider-Man is Haru? I just want to make sure everybody understands that. So who is Luke Skywalker? Can somebody tell me that? And at the same time, tell me who Obi-Wan Kenobi is. Let's see if you guys can get that right. But I want you to go and see this movie. And I hope the actors got back-end deals because they'll be filthy rich. Because this movie is going to clean up at the box office. Go see this movie just so you understand, as I learned in Qigong, that everyone has an imbalance in their energy flow. That's correct. Yes, that is correct. in their energy flow. Luke Skywalker is Haru. Now, who's Obi-Wan Kenobi? Can you tell me that? And Qigong looks to fill that void and make the person whole and brings them back into balance. That's why I love medical Qigong. You know what I mean? And it's all energy manipulation through mantras and motions and stuff. Absolutely correct. Yes. And so is Dr. Strange. You're right. You are absolutely right. Yep. Absolutely right. Give that man an award. Yes, yes, yes. But you didn't get the big prize one, which was Nekabet. But yeah, that's good. That's good. That's how I learned the deity so quickly. Because we would, when we were in priesthood, we would all go watch movies and then associate the movie with a Kemetic deity. And that's how you learn their attributes and things about them so quickly. You know what I mean? Like you can see like Marilyn Monroe. Who is Marilyn Monroe? That's an easy one. Can anybody answer that? Who is Marilyn Monroe? All right. Or who is, let me another one. I forgot her name. Dorothy Dandridge, is it? I think it was her. But who's Marilyn Monroe? We'll leave it at that. If you can answer that, that'd be great. One of the things I when I went on my journey to understand how to manipulate reality and to quantum leap to different realities, I did go and start watching films because I knew that Hollywood was going to try and tell me something. And I started to piece it together and start to realize, oh, this is it. And then I met various sages who would reveal the secrets in a way. You got it. You got it. She is Heatheroo. That's right. Marilyn Monroe is Heatheroo. Exactly. Exactly. Here's a tricky one. If you saw Dune, I don't know how many of you saw Dune. The prince put his hand in a box. Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah. I think you're right on that one. In Dune, the prince put his hand in a box, and this old woman there, she put like this, she had one of these needle to his side and said, if you remove your hand from the box, I'm going to stick you with this needle. I forgot her character's name, but who is she? Who is she? If for those of you who saw Dune, you know. So I had to piece it all together to understand how to manipulate reality and study with different sages, but you don't have to do that because I'm breaking it down for you. I remember when I accidentally time traveled. I didn't realize that you could time travel without a machine. I didn't know that. And when I did it and came back, not only did it scare the hell out of me, but I started doing research and investigation and figured out other people had the same experience. And I also looked at Hollywood made a movie called Peggy Sue Got Married, which dealt with her going back in time using her consciousness and not a time machine. And then I was like, well, why aren't they telling us this stuff? Because every movie you see is like Back to the Future. You got to have a time machine. You don't need a time machine to go back in time. You can do it with your consciousness if you understand hypnosis or trance. You can travel back in time. I used to tell people, don't read books on slavery or history. You can go there, and it's going to be traumatizing. It's going to be traumatizing, but you can go there and re-experience it through trance. Now, there are some people out there who are real like experts in this field, and they will tell you, well, you need DMT to do that, or ayahuasca, and they're right. Some people will need those to help them, which what that does is facilitate the breaking down of the ego to allow consciousness to come to 5D so you can travel to those different points in time. But some of us can do it without the help of those herbs or medicines. But if you feel you need it, go find a medicine man who can conjure up a batch for you and tell them, listen, I want to explore what it was like in the Civil War, explore what it was like in ancient Egypt. And I remember a woman, she was asking me once, a very good question too, and I had to break it to her. She said, what did you see when you went there? And I said, you have to understand something. Consciousness doesn't have sight like in our fourth dimensional experience. So you're not exactly seeing. I mean, you do see, but it's not with your eye. It's with what? Your third eye. You experience everything with your third eye. And and I'll never forget that experience of time travel. It was so profound. It shook me to my core. I had like post-traumatic syndrome after that. I would literally be scared that it would happen again without me knowing it. I remember when I came back to this present day, I called my friend, he's a Russian guy. I said, what day is this? What is going on? He goes, what do you mean? I said, I don't know where I'm at. I've lost all sense of direction, spatial orientation, time, because I was gone someplace. If you get an opportunity to experience that, things are not, let me explain something. Movies make things seem so simple. And I'm going to give you this from a person who's experienced it. You see Marty McFly getting the DeLorean time machine, right? Built out of these used parts in the garage by the doc. And he goes to the future or back in time. And he gets out the car and he's looking around going, wow, I'm in the future. Yeah. Adidas or whatever, floating skateboards. When it really happens to you, and let me explain it. When it really happens to you, if it were, and you were to get out that DeLorean and you were to stand there and realize you were in the future, you would be or the past, you would be terrified because you wouldn't know if you could get back. The first thing that would hit your mind is, can I get back? Am I stuck here? And that was the fear of having that happen again. I would have nightmares of going into the future and getting stuck and not being able to come back. Nightmares. That's why I say it's like that PSTS or whatever it is. Hollywood romanticizes something, but in the reality, it's far different. It's far different. People are like, oh, ET contact, disclosure, meeting aliens is cool. Until you meet one, then you shit bricks. There have been studies to show people that when they encounter a UFO, the fight and flight kicks in. They run. They don't go, hey, ET, I'm here. They get scared and run. Because reality is far different from the romanticized version of what Hollywood paints. And I tell you that when you start shifting to parallel realities, and one of the first times I did it, scared the crap out of me. Scared the living crap out of me. I remember exactly when it happened, what room I was in. Because I had realized at that point that the world wasn't what I thought it was. That I could shift to different realities. And because of that, I didn't know what was real and what wasn't real. I was like, But then what's going on? Is anything real? Do I even exist? What's going on? But wherever people, they go, yeah, I'm going to shift me to a new reality where I got some money. And then it happens and you're freaked out. And you're going, everything that I was told is a lie. And then you become the fool in the tarot. You're learning things all over again. You're a student. Because when your world, what do they say in the Matrix? We don't take people out the Matrix at a certain age because they can't handle it. And that is true. You couldn't handle what reality is about. I'm going to, and I'll break it down. I told people I can tell you what reality is about. First off, you have to really experience it to really understand it. And if you were to experience it, you would go insane. You couldn't handle it. You would lose your mind. Because reality is nothing. It's no thingness. It's nothing. It is the absence of individuality and physicality. You have nothing to hang on to, nothing to root yourself in, because you've been raised, how old are you, 35, 25, 41? You've been raised all those years in a physical environment to where you can plant your feet, to where you know it's gravity. Remove everything from that equation. The TV, the lights, the computer, and you exist as pure consciousness, you won't be able to handle that. This is why you have to go through many incarnations to adapt to that experience. This is why the Buddhist monks meditate and try to transcend the physical and give away all their worldly possessions, not because you have to be poor, but you have to give up attachments to physicality. Do you understand that? Attachments, you have to give that up so you can prepare yourself to go back to your original essence, which is no thingness. But to go there now, God would never allow that, because you could not handle it. Which is why when you do experience it in the right way, you experience a profound sense of love, because God is there, source is there. You connect with source. So you won't fall. There's someone there to catch you. Do you understand? Which was a kind of cool theme in the Spider-Man movie, because every time somebody fell, Peter Parker or Spider-Man was there to catch them. And I love what he was saying there was like, I got you. I'm always going to be here for you. I got you. Even if you were a villain, he was there to help you. And that's what we have to do as Magi's. We have to understand that the people we're dealing with are sick. But they're our brothers and our sisters, and we have to have patience and love for them. So much so, you may have to have so much so love to say, hey, I love you. I can't fix you, so stay away from me. I will love you from afar. You know what I mean? And you're going to have to do that with certain Sahu people, certain Nekabet people, certain Wajet people. Hey, you got the wrong energy going on. What did Luke Skywalker do when he found out that Darth Vader was his father? He told Obi-Wan Kenobi, I can't kill him. He's my father. I can never kill him. No matter how much evil he has done, I cannot kill my own father. Because there's still good in him. And I'm going to try and awaken that within him, that good. Your power resides in your ability to go into trance and go out of trance. If you have not mastered that Osset quality, because a trance is governed by Isis, Osset. If you have not mastered that, then you're not going to achieve anything. You're not. I'm just being honest with you. It begins and ends with trance. So if you're not meditating on a consistent basis, if you're not putting yourself into trance, then don't expect these miracles to be worked on or come to fruition in your life, because they won't. And once you start to do trance work on a consistent basis, it becomes part of the autopilot within you. You'll go in and out of trance automatically, especially if you're looking to manifest something in your life. You become more right-brained, or whole brain thinker, or integrated brain thinker. And when you start thinking of something, it quickly manifests. Take a moment, guys. If you could just hit the like button, I would appreciate that. And I wanted to make you all aware that this is, I'm going to be doing this for a short time, because come 2022, I'm going to be working on some other things, exciting stuff. So I won't have a lot of time to do oracle readings and things of that nature. But if you haven't signed up for a session for Kemetic hypnosis, please do. There are a lot of benefits to this. And this teaches the basics of trance work. And this is the next stage in what I have learned, because each iteration I improve upon. So this is the new and improved system that I'm working with. And I'm getting really, really positive feedback from people on this new level of trance work and hypnosis. They're one and the same, by the way. So if you haven't signed up for this, please do before I close it down, because I'm not going to be doing this throughout the entire year of 2022. I got other things I want to work on, but this is phenomenal. And once you learn these skills, you can practice them on your own. All right. There's no need for you to keep coming back to me. You can just, I'll give you the basics, and you can just go on and start working on it. You know what I mean? And then you can have prosperity in your life. Magical power here. Powder here. I was doing some mixing of elements earlier, because I mix my own powders to come up with a formula that works right to bring money or whatever, you know. If you're looking to bring attraction, if you want to be more attractive, if you want to excel at sports, if you want to excel at basketball or baseball, there's a magical powder for that. You know what I mean? If you want to heal somebody, you know, you can do that as well. So you guys were awesome today in this discussion about Spider-Man and the Spideyverse. The only thing I would love to have seen would have been really interesting. I don't know if you guys are aware of Miles Morales. I think it would have been cool if they do a movie, you know, like a big budget movie on Miles Morales. I think that would be kind of like cool, you know, because I don't think I think they did an animated version of the Spideyverse, but you know, I haven't seen that one. So maybe some of you have seen it. I heard it was really, really, really good. Okay. But get to it. Read the Meduniter Volume 1. Start working on your trance ability. Sign up for the course. Make sure you do your 2022 reading to see what God has in store for you. If there's going to be a Wajet year or a Ma'at year. Ma'at year is wealth. You know, so find out what that year has in store for you. And if you get like a Wajet or a Nekabet, then you need to start doing some serious magic, because you got some problems coming. Big time. You know, can you imagine some people are born with a destiny of Wajet and Nekabet? I'm like, oh my God, that's a challenge. It's like you go before the Hall of Ma'ati. Dude, he says, great, you had a great lifetime, your last incarnation. Now for your next incarnation, you're going to have Wajet and Nekabet. You're going to get your butt kicked. Are you okay with that? And then your higher self always wants to challenge. The higher self says, sure, bring it on. And then Tootie says, did you hear me? I said Wajet and Nekabet. You do understand what that means, right? And your higher self says, yes, I know, bring it on. And me being my comical self, I would be like, oh, damn. I'd be like, hell no, send me back to the previous life. Hell no, no, no. And then Tudy would say, Qesankh, you're not being spiritual. I don't care. I am not going into a lifetime with Wacheneka. And he says, but you're a higher being, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm like, I don't care. Yeah, so be thankful none of you have that, you know. And if you do, look me up and we'll try to figure out some mantras and some magic potions to help you through it. And always remember, you chose it. You chose it. All right? God would be an unfair God to send you into this incarnation without your approval, because you made that soul contract. This is Qesankh Ma'Kefaru, son of Ma'at and Tahuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, Amun Ra.